This is kind of a little off the cuff here because something happened literally last night that inspired this week's show. For those of you who don't play World of Warcraft, you don't know that this week is called Children's Week. And part of Children's Week involves something that even makes the most hardened MMO player cringe. That one damn PvP achievement. A part of me wants to spend 10 minutes railing on the continued decision that Blizzard has made to keep mandatory PvP events in the world. I don't want to do this, so let me get this out of the way now, and I'm not coming back to it. Children's Week is a holiday of sorts that seems very shoehorned into the calendar. In World, I guess it's supposed to remind the players that there's a cost of war that's paid by the children. We could argue the morals and ethics all day. It doesn't change the fact that this event exists. So, as a part of the event, players are asked to let an orphan child follow them around the world. Alright, I'm going to have to talk about metagaming again. Well, I've already talked a little bit about metagaming before when I was talking about the numbers under the hood, you know, making the maximum DPS for your tune. But there's actually another part of metagaming that I haven't really talked about yet, and that is when they put things in the game specifically for the players to do, not the characters to do. And in this case, it's all about the achievements. The idea is to create more gameplay by encouraging players to do things that are completely out of character to achieve goals worth points. Not that anyone's role-playing. Moving on, achievements can be anything, and some of them literally feel like, you logged in, achievement! Some are just stupid silly. Some make you look at the screen and wonder, what the hell is that supposed to mean? And some force you into content that you really don't enjoy if you want to get the achievement. And here's where I'm going to start to have an issue with it, because some people say, well, you know, achievements are just optional content. You don't have to do them. No, you're right, I don't have to do achievements, but there are tangible rewards for me if I do these achievements. It's not something like gamer score, which actually only serves to make your, ego look bigger. But here's the thing, imagine for every 400 gamer score that you got, it unlocked DLC. Oh yeah, you guys would start chasing that stuff just as rapidly as we start chasing achievements. With that in mind, we get back to Children's Week, and specifically last night. One of the achievements is called School of Hard Knocks. In it, you're supposed to take your orphan into a player versus player battleground and do specific tasks concerning flag captures. It's a required achievement to obtain a vanity title and, in the long view of things, an in-game flying mount that you can't get any other way. And here's where I go off on my rant about this, because people say that, oh, it's just an achievement, it's optional, you don't have to do that. Alright, fine. If it's only optional, then provide me another way to get the reward that I'm looking at, and I'll be more than happy to do that instead of this stinking thing. And people say, oh, well, you know, it's exclusivity and this, that. Okay, fine, I get it. You want to feel special, that's fine. If that's what turns your crank, by all means, go ahead. So the achievement pretty much stays, and I still maintain it's the worst achievement in the game. And here's why. First of all, in spite of what all the elitist morons think, it's not skippable. If you want to get the title and the mount, you have to do this feat in 7 days of online play, minus server maintenance, of course. By stating you don't have to do it, that seems to me a backhanded way to tell someone to go screw themselves. Second, the achievement requires that the player is actually skilled at battlegrounds, and frankly, a lot of us aren't. And I know that I don't bring this up, one of you guys just might. Yeah, when I live stream, I do Battlegrounds all the time because I find that it amuses my viewers. It's funny to watch somebody else suffer. I understand this. Thing is, about Battlegrounds, they frustrate me to no end because everything I know about game theory is pretty much thrown out the window because it doesn't apply to the online Battlegrounds because there's no room to flank, it's all a numbers game, and you bottleneck the field and... Different video. Stay on focus. Third is the meta. Everyone knows that this week is Children's Week. Everyone knows that the battlegrounds are being flooded with people who don't generally play PvP and in fact suck at it. And everyone knows why they're in the battleground and what they need to accomplish, so it's not uncommon for people to be trolling specifically to make people rage quit the game. Thus brings us the biggest problem with this achievement. You see, it doesn't just rest on my shoulders and my skill in order to get this achievement, but it also relies on my opponents not playing the metagame. Oh dude, there's a whole bunch of people in here and they're all trying to get the same achievement? Let's just not capture any flag, guys. That should be hilarious. Don't laugh, they actually do this. Why? Well, that's another show entirely, but it goes into a couple of the mentalities. It's funny to watch someone nerd rage. It's funny to make people stop enjoying something they used to like. It's cool to ruin other people's good time. Whatever you want to call it. Trolling equates to being cool in gamer culture. I would call it a badge of honor among some people, but this really needs to be its own show.
But there's one other part of this that I never really counted on. There's some people that play the meta the other way. And that brings me to Warsong Gulch last night. You see, part of the achievement is you have to go into Warsong Gulch and recapture a flag while you have your orphan out.
What happened can only be described as baffling. What I found there was a lone horde player not fighting, but going up to the flag, capturing it, stepping back a few feet, and then dropping it. All of my teammates were saying, "Don't kill her, don't kill her." She repeated this enough times for everyone on our side to get the achievement. Meanwhile, on the other side of the field, an Alliance character was doing the same thing. For 5 minutes there was a truce, for lack of a better way to put it. Since we couldn't directly talk to each other, it came down to emotes and intent. We were literally sitting next to each other, just waiting for everyone to get their achievement out of the way before we continued the game. The game after that was pretty odd as well. It was probably the most respectful PvP match I've been in a long time. No one was stealing insignias, no one was taunting or making rude emotes. The feeling I got from the players was, okay, we got what we came here for, let's just wrap this up and go home.
As much as this is me having a moment of historical geekery, the entire incident really reminded me of the Christmas truce of 1914. Go look it up, it's an interesting historical footnote. But there's one thing that this really showed me that I just can't ignore anymore. You see, the whole overarching storyline within World of Warcraft is supposed to be this absolute hatred, this warfare between the Horde and the Alliance, and the players are just not buying into it. This wasn't just an act of kindness, this was actually a quiet revolt.
I say this comfortable in the knowledge that this is not an isolated incident. My experience on a PvP server told me that in spite of a very visible minority of players who need to prove how big their manhood is, most players will choose to live and let live. They just want to run their missions, get on with the game, and usually they'll isolate their PvP to designated areas. And I know, there are some guilds who thrive on world PvP, but I'm talking about the majority of players. And as much as I understand that the vocal minority of players who hang out on forums talk a big game, in practice, the majority of players really don't want any part of a storyline they can't really identify with. I mean, let's take a look at what Blizzard has done to try to make this war more tangible. Dalaran comes to mind. It was a central hub where Horde and Alliance players mingled, but Cataclysm pretty much decentralized that and turned it into a ghost town. The idea seemed to be to alienate both sides and say, see, you're enemies, see? And as you travel around the world, you see these static battles between Horde and Alliance, but there's really no movement, just stand and hack battles. The Horde and Alliance physically can't talk to each other either. If you try, you just get gibberish, and yes, people have tried to decode it with no dice. You can emote all day, but you can't speak to the other side.
Wait, that's not true. Keep talking, this will take me a moment to show you.
Okay, there's also Alterac Valley, which is the largest PvP battleground out there. Routinely, it's a race to the other end with almost no PvP action happening at all. Oftentimes, you can make it to the end without seeing a single actual player, and many games have ended with 0 honor kills. It's so bad that many of the hardcore call Alterac Valley a PvE battleground.
Sorry to interrupt, but I wanted to introduce you to someone.
Okay, wait, where are you now?
Mount Hyjal. There's more places I could have gone, but this one seemed the most relevant.
Okay, sure, what do you got?
This woman is a Tauren, and clearly I can talk to her, get missions from her, and she pays me for my troubles.
Okay, wait, that is so completely unfair. She's there as one of the neutral druids, and of course she can, because they're gearing up for the entire Firelands invasion, and... Oh. Okay. Alright, I see. I get where you're going with this.
Look, between Deathwing, Ragnaros, Deepholm, and all the other global problems, I think we have a lot more important things to deal with than killing green-skinned humanoids. We did kill Deathwing, but the damage caused is still wreaking havoc on my home. I mean, do I have to show you Thousand Needles?
No, I completely get it. I understand.
I mean, war games are fun and all, but at the end of the day, it's still just capture the flag, isn't it? You, of anyone, should know that.
Well, so much for a show that I don't mention paintball in it.
My point is, the whole war just has no purpose. If she can learn Common and other Worgen can learn Orc, it's not impossible. The whole idea is just ridiculous. We have a world to fix, not get into just petty squabbles.
Alright, so what about the Forsaken taking Gilneas?
That in due time. But we both know that's different. We will get our home back. Look, I can't stay much longer. I need to fix a recurring problem in Toberod.
Okay, I'll catch you later, I guess. I will grant you that compared to other MMO communities, this is a fairly quiet revolt. It seems to me that there are still enough players out there who would love nothing more than the free kills that they can score in an environment of conscientious objectors, but after the battleground the other night, I think I understand more of what's going on.
It seems to me that the player base is just not buying into the meta. In fact, we can see tangible rewards for helping the bad guys on several occasions, so even if it's just for purely selfish reasons, there's no reason for this conflict to exist. In fact, I think that's the entire problem with this entire combat culture that the MMO provides for us, because we play the game, but we know in the back of our minds that our actions are basically worthless in the grand scheme of things. We're not actually solving anything, we're not gaining ground, we're not losing ground, it's just a static conflict. And after a while, you just start kind of getting this opinion of, meh, what does it even matter anymore? And that's when you get occasions of things that happen like what happened the other night in Warsong Gulch. But isn't that pretty much how every revolution begins? With one act of defiance? Just as I hit record. My sister. Sending me birthday greetings.